The American Civil War ended in 1865, but its wounds did not heal overnight. The war tore the nation in two. Brothers and fathers fought each other on opposing sides, and families were left to pick up the pieces after the bloodshed. For many, the scars were not only physical but emotional, lingering long after the final battle. And yet, for more than half a century after the war ended, former soldiers, their families, and communities gathered together for reunions. Events that would not only remember the fallen, but also lay the foundation for reconciliation between North and South. These reunions, which reached their peak in the early 20th century, were more than just nostalgic gatherings. They were moments of unity, bringing together former enemies in a country still grappling with the aftermath of the war. Men who had once been enemies now stood side by side, remembering the pain, the sacrifice, and the shared experience of survival. It was an emotional reconciliation, deeply symbolic of a nation that was still mending itself. The largest and most famous of these reunions took place in 1913, for the 50th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. In this small town in Pennsylvania, Union and Confederate veterans gathered to mark a solemn milestone, the bloody clash at Gettysburg, where more than 50,000 men were killed, wounded, or captured in just 3 days of fighting. This was no ordinary reunion. The Battle of Gettysburg was one of the most iconic and defining engagements of the war, and the 1913 reunion, with thousands of veterans in attendance, became the centerpiece of Civil War remembrance, becoming one of the most significant moments of reconciliation in the history of Civil War reunions. For many of the veterans, now elderly men in their 70s and 80s, the reunion offered a rare opportunity to confront the past, face to face, with those they had once fought against. The event included speeches, memorial services, and a grand march where the veterans, both Union and Confederate, lined up side by side. Perhaps the most poignant moment came when the veterans took part in a symbolic handshake across the old battlefield, where the blood of their comrades had stained the earth 50 years earlier.
That's the rebel yell.
Though it was a somber occasion, there was no anger or bitterness. The two sides, once separated by the greatest conflict in American history, now embraced each other as survivors, not enemies. For the first time, former soldiers from both sides saw the shared humanity in one another, the deep bonds forged in the horrors of battle. The reunion wasn't just a public event. It was a deeply personal experience for those who had fought and their families. For some, it was a final chance to say goodbye to their fallen comrades. Many of the veterans had lost brothers, fathers, and sons during the war. The 1913 gathering became a powerful way to honor them and pay respect to the sacrifices made. But Gettysburg wasn't the only significant reunion. In fact, reunions took place across the country, from small local gatherings to larger statewide events. In 1889, a reunion was held in Chattanooga, Tennessee, to mark the anniversary of the Battle of Lookout Mountain and the Battle of Missionary Ridge. The event drew veterans from both the Union and Confederate armies, many of whom had fought in these very locations. Just as in Gettysburg, these veterans were united by their shared experiences, not by their allegiances during the war. At the Chattanooga reunion, veterans reflected not just on the military strategies and victories, but on the personal stories, the friendships made and lost, the devastating impact of the war on their communities. The event also highlighted how the war had shaped the landscape of the South, as the former Confederacy struggled to rebuild from the ashes of defeat. By the 1900s, more of these regional reunions took place as Confederate veterans and their families grappled with the war's outcome and what it meant for their future. These gatherings were a way to preserve the memory of Southern soldiers, while also beginning the process of coming to terms with the new reality of the nation. Even as these reunions honored the past, they also helped shape the future of veterans' rights and care. By the time of the 1913 Gettysburg reunion, many veterans had been advocating for pensions and recognition from the federal government.
We are the last of the old bodyguards of our masters served through the war between the states, and we have been to all the reunions, and they have treated us just the same as any other soldier.
The reunions often served as platforms for political speeches, where veterans would demand better treatment for themselves and their families. These reunions, then, played an important role in pushing for the eventual creation of the Veterans Administration and other programs designed to help those who had fought in the war. But it was not only the veterans themselves who attended these reunions. Their families played a crucial role in preserving the memory of the war. The wives, children, and grandchildren of veterans often accompanied them, creating a multi-generational event.
When I was a little boy, they used to wear long dresses. Some of them three red backs on them. Then they commenced wearing them big, like sort of like this little lady here. And then they commenced cutting them off. They were cutting them off until they got them way up here. And you never saw the other side of your life.
There's more people here, and they're treating this just like...
And did you ever see as many pretty girls?
No, I never did. Did you hear that there pretty woman talking outside and bragging on the old soldiers? I wanted to hug her.
Oh, I
they couldn't get to
her. Why tell her, hold on, that you wanted to have a word with her?
Well, next time I see her, I'll fix it all up.
All right.
I'm going to hunt her up too this evening.
She may be up here this evening.
Yeah, she'll be here. If your girl is gone, you won't get to see her.
No.
What are you going to do about it?
I'll hunt another one.
I don't think you'd find another as crazy as that one.
It was a chance for younger generations to learn about the sacrifices their ancestors had made and to understand the deep emotional toll of the war. The reunions also served as a way for veterans to bond with one another, sharing stories of the battles they had fought in and the comrades they had lost. Many veterans formed lifelong friendships at these events, finding solace in the fact that they were not alone in their experiences. These gatherings, though deeply personal, were also communal, as veterans came together to share not just memories, but a sense of healing. As the years passed and fewer veterans remained, the reunions became increasingly rare. The final major gathering took place in 1938, marking the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg.
Although in 1938 there were 8,000 veterans still living, only 1,818 were able to attend their last reunion, Union men outnumbering Confederates 3-1. More than 160,000 soldiers fought at Gettysburg, but only 65 who actually took part in the offensive returned for the reunion. The average age of all the veterans in camp in 1938 was 94, but they had lots of fun in boasting of their health and strength.
The Civil War reunions of the early 20th century remind us of the enduring power of memory. Though the physical wounds of the war had healed, the emotional scars took longer to fade. Yet, through these reunions, the veterans helped to bridge the divide that had once torn the nation apart. By coming together, no longer as enemies, but as men who had shared in the same trials, these veterans played an essential role in the nation's healing process. Today, we remember these reunions not only for their historical significance, but also for the lessons they teach us about reconciliation, understanding, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. The Civil War was a painful chapter in American history, but the reunions of its survivors showed that even the deepest divides could be overcome with time, compassion, and a shared commitment to the future. The past lives on, not just in history books, but in the stories, the memories, and the legacies of those who lived through it. The Civil War reunions were one chapter in that story, but they remind us all that sometimes the greatest victories are those of understanding and peace.
If you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more content like this, be sure to take a shot at the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest BirdDogg content. And if you'd like to support the channel, for a limited time there's exclusive Civil War Diaries merchandise available in the video link below.